Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Full Pelt Music Podcast from Full Pelt Music. Shortly, we will be joined by Danish rockers H.E.R.O ahead of the release of their third album, Alternate Realities. We recently featured their single, Lead the Blind, over on our Hard and Heavy playlist on Spotify. So make sure you check that one out. And if you would, please do follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at Full Pelt and on Twitter and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. And wherever you're watching, please do hit that subscribe button, hit that like button for many more episodes of both the Discover New Music podcast and the Full Pelt Music podcast. Well, welcome, Christoffer from the band H.E.R.O to the Full Pelt Music podcast. We're really excited to be talking to you today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, well, we're absolutely delighted to have you on because this past Friday, you put out your third album now, Alternate Realities.
Yes.
And listeners can read our review on our website and they'll see it's a very positive review. We've really, really enjoyed the album. So simple question for you from us to start us off is, what can listeners that haven't checked that album out yet, what can they expect from it?
Oh, that's maybe the toughest question to get, But you can expect like a major rock, modern sounding rock songs with pop elements in there. Yeah. I guess that's the shortest version I can give.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely the soaring vocals, and pop sort of melodies that you'd expect, but obviously, all put in this really huge sounding rock package that you guys have been able to put together.
Definitely
we've really enjoyed it. How much did you guys enjoy recording it? What was the recording process like for you guys, and was it impacted at all by COVID over the last couple of years?
It was to start. It was we really enjoyed doing this album, writing and so, but we were definitely affected by the COVID. Because we released our second album just when we had like a listening session on the day that Denmark totally locked down.
Yeah.
So we quite quickly realized that the second album pretty much died on that day, just before it actually got out. So we had to find some energy to write some new material, and it took a while before we got to a point where like writing new music seemed like a natural thing to do again. So COVID definitely set us back a little bit, but I think we spent the time writing the best album so far. So it's been difficult but fun also.
Yeah, and no one can fault your work ethic because obviously you guys have got 3 albums out and you've put them all out since 2019. So you're pretty prolific at putting albums out at this point. What was the creative process like for you for this album then compared to the other 2? Did it change at all given the circumstances?
I think the creative process was really simple, because there was really no other way to go in a pandemic than to write a harder, more dark album, because the circumstances in the world really didn't inspire you to write like soft pop sounding songs. So it made totally sense that we should do like heavier and darker stuff this time around.
Yeah, and leading the way for the new album really is the single Gravity. It was one of the first songs that listeners got to hear that was going to feature on the album, and obviously it's the first track on the album. What about the song Gravity made you pick it to lead the way as it does?
I guess Gravity was written from I wanted to write a really, really hard-hitting guitar riff. So it came from that. And and it all just kind of made sense when we wrote it, when we got together, and we were really, really excited to do something like that, because that song definitely doesn't sound like anything we've done before. So that kind of set the tone of where we were going for this album. So it made sense that that was one of the first songs that listeners got to hear from this album.
Yeah, and it does really, as you just said, set the tone for what follows over the next, what is it, 10 songs on the album?
10 songs, yeah.
Yeah, so, obviously really enjoyed that single. And another single we've really enjoyed is Lead the Blind. So we've featured that recently on our Hard and Heavy playlist over on Spotify, so listeners obviously can check it out on there. And obviously there's a video for it on YouTube as well, which listeners can definitely go and check out, which we enjoyed. Quite futuristic video that we enjoyed. So with Lead the Blind, what can you tell us about the meaning, the story behind that song? Because to be honest, listening to it, it feels it could be quite personal.
I mean, that's a theme that's going on throughout all 10 songs, really. That I throughout this COVID lockdown, I came to a point in my life where I haven't felt before that I needed to address this subject. But like many years ago, I had to split up with my entire family because of religious reasons. Like, they are all Jehovah's Witnesses, and I'm not. So at some point they had to go in the right direction. I did the left direction, and we didn't speak or have had anything to do with each other for like 5 or 6 years or something. And I thought that everything was okay, that I have dealt with it, and now we have a better relationship than we've ever had before. So I thought that there was no need to really address that subject anymore in my life. But since the COVID, and all you could do was to sit in your apartment and reflect on life, it quite quickly hit me that, okay, there's something here that I need to cope with again and get out of the system. And Lead the Blind was actually the first song that kind of made me realize that, we are actually writing songs about this specific time of my life. So yeah, that's a pretty like groundbreaking song for us. It really lyrically set the tone and vibe for the whole record.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that with us. Because I say, when you listen to the song, you do get a sense of the personal aspect, and obviously hearing the story behind it obviously brings new sort of meaning to it, having listened to it. Really,
I didn't know, actually, but when we wrote the lyrics and we called it Lead the Blind, it kind of, I think it's like 2 or 3 days afterwards, I was like, okay, Lead the Blind is actually like almost a quote from the Bible. The Bible is like something you shouldn't lead a blind man with a blind man, or whatever the right word is. But so it made total sense to me that, oh wow, there's something hidden in the back of my mind that needs to come out. So that was quite that was a really, really cool experience to have, that there's something going on all the time, and music can get you through that healing process in a way.
Yeah, and you've kind of touched on it with obviously lockdowns and all of our countries shutting down with COVID hitting. As a musician, getting locked in, your flat, your house, how did you cope? Was it an instant feeling of, well, this is a great opportunity to record some music, or?
Definitely not. I was really, really first of all, I was really, really bummed out that we didn't get to tour and support the second album. And at some point I was sitting at home and was like, what is the world gonna be like when all this is done? Is it really worth it being a musician? Is music really something that people are gonna want and need on after this? So it definitely made me think twice about being a musician. I needed to find that basic feeling of I'm not good at anything else but playing music. And it took some time, but I got there eventually.
Yeah, and obviously, well, we're really glad you did, because obviously the outcome of that alternate realities, as we say, we have really enjoyed listening to. And sticking with the track, Lead the Blind for one more second. Obviously, you got to collaborate and feature Philip Strand from Normandy on the track as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, how did that collaboration come about? And obviously, how much fun was it to work with Philip?
It was actually quite a coincidence, really.
Okay.
I remember quite early in this lockdown, I got an email from Jacob Hansen, who engineered and mixed and mastered our record. And he was like, dude, have you written songs for this Swedish band called Normandy? I was like, no, I haven't. So I checked it out and was like, wow, I'm a huge fan now. And I remember quite late in the process, I was out having a beer with Jacob, and he tells me that he might know a guy that knows Philip, so he can get in contact with him. So I was like, well, wouldn't it be fun just to ask him and see whatever happens? And we were lucky enough that Philip, he liked it, and he wanted to be featured on it. And unfortunately, COVID did not allow us to meet. So Philip did all his vocals in Stockholm.
Yeah.
And so I only know him through emails and Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully with the world opening up, there'll be an opportunity for you guys to actually meet coming down the line.
I hope so.
Definitely. And obviously, I can see the comparisons between the two acts, and obviously the style of music that you guys are putting out. And obviously that song, you know, the collaboration there does work really well. And it's not the only collaboration on the album, in fact. So the new album came out obviously on Friday, and you on the same day put out a video for another new single, Monster, from the album, and that features Melissa Bonney on the track as well, and in the video. You know, what about that track obviously lent itself to Melissa joining in? And again, similar question with, you know, how was the experience of working with her?
The experience was a little bit different than the Philip, because Melissa is the singer of a band called Ad Infinitum, and I co-wrote a song for her and her band like maybe 2 years ago. And I just remember that we've always talked about having a female feature on our songs, and it just hadn't made any sense until now. And I think it was like 2 weeks before we had to deliver the final master. I asked Jacob, because he knows Melissa as well. I was like, why don't we try Melissa on this song? Because I have a feeling that it will work out really, really good. And he was like, yeah, well, go ask her. And I wrote her and said, Melissa, do you wanna feature on this song? I think you'll fit really, really great. And like 5 minutes later, she texted me back that she would be delighted to, and it all just went really well from there. She did the vocals at home because of the COVID again. And when we heard the song, the final mix with her vocals on it, was like, it's Melissa's song now. We're just her backing band, you know, on this track. So we're really, really excited about that song.
Yeah, and it is, fantastic song. Sorry, finish what you were going to say.
No, I was just, and that's why we wanted to bring her in the music video as well, because she's such a cool character and singer. So we wanted really the world to see her as well. And yeah, we just enjoy being in her spotlight for 4 minutes.
So sticking with Monster, then it is one of our favourite songs on the album for sure. So what is the story behind Monster? What's the concept behind the song?
I think it's about having that feeling that you are in a room with a lot of people and you feel like the outsider and the misfit, and then getting to a point where you're absolutely okay with it. And even though you feel left outside or you feel different than everybody else, then there's always a safe space for you, and you'll be okay anyway. I guess that's the story, the short version.
Yeah. And it's good that you mentioned being in a room full of people, because that leads us on to our next question, actually. So, I mean, you talked about the release of your second album coinciding with the start of the lockdown in Denmark, and obviously how frustrating that was for you not to be able to tour that album. I mean, based in the UK, thankfully, we've been able to head back to some live shows over the last few months, and it's been obviously absolutely great. I know not every country across the globe has been the same, and I think Denmark has obviously had restrictions in place still for a while.
We're totally restriction free now, so everything is back to normal. So I'm just happy about that.
So the question is then, when should fans expect? Where can they see you coming up?
Well, we have a show. We have 2 shows in Denmark. One in April, one in May, and then we're working on to see what can happen during the summer, because it's in Denmark right now. It's like everything has been basically postponed for 2 years. So now everybody needs to be out and playing concerts. So we just keep our fingers crossed that something will happen in the summer, and in the fall we will definitely go and play like a proper tour on this album.
Yeah, and I guess obviously you'll be, everyone's been excited to get back out to live music, but the fact that you'll basically have 2 albums to tour, is it going to be quite hard to pick a set list?
Actually, right now the feeling we have is like we would really prefer just play track 1 to 10 from the new record and then just forget all the old stuff. But I doubt that we are gonna do that in the end. But yeah, it's always nice to have a lot of material to pick from, and I'm sure that the shows will be really effective and hard hitting whenever we get the chance to play some shows.
Yeah, and hopefully that will be sooner rather than later. Before COVID hit, you were able to play a load of shows, and in particular, I noticed that you've had a great deal of success over in Japan, which is quite good. And obviously, you played over there with Slash and Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. So I mean, how was that experience playing not just obviously a fantastic country such as Japan, but playing with the likes of Slash and Miles Kennedy as well? Talk to us about that experience.
That was that was really, really mind blowing in a way, because I just remember we played some shows before in Japan, and we really, really enjoyed it and had some success on the charts as well. And I remember getting an email saying that first off, we want to probably try and bring you on as support for Slash and Miles Kennedy. And I'm like, that will be really, really great. But it said in the email that we just need Slash to, I think it was, listen to the music and say okay or not. And then like maybe a week before we had to leave, there came an email like, Slash really likes it. You're the support act now. Yeah. So that was really, really amazing to share the stage with one of your childhood heroes, really. So yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Miles Kennedy as well. So I really enjoyed watching them and getting to meet them, and that was amazing.
And I can obviously imagine as well, just that feedback, because I know actually Slash is someone that does, as you say, kind of vet his support acts. He's not going to have someone supporting him that he doesn't think fits and that he doesn't enjoy the music of. So I mean, that sort of personal vindication of having that feedback from him must have been fantastic as well.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was amazing. It's still one of the best memories we have as a band, like supporting Slash and Miles in Japan. That's something we'll never forget.
Obviously, yeah, an experience like that is absolutely incredible for many bands. So similar question to I've asked other artists in the similar kind of position is when do you kind of get lost in the moment of playing with a band such as that, or are you looking to gain any knowledge from them? Is there anything you learned from playing those shows with them?
There's a lot to learn. I mean, that's obviously you're there to show your music to a wider and bigger audience, but you're also there to learn. And I mean, if Slash and Miles Kennedy is on the stage, then at least you can look at them and get to see what they are so great at. So it's definitely a big learning experience to be in such places with them as well.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll be able to translate all of those then experiences into your own live shows again soon, as we've discussed. Obviously, you said you've got a couple coming up in Denmark, so obviously listeners need to follow you guys on social media because that's how the world works these days. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously you guys are on Instagram and Facebook at H.E.R.O Music DK and Twitter at H.E.R.O DK Music. So obviously listeners, there'll be a link in the description for the episode. Make sure you do follow the band on social media to find out when they are going to be playing. Christoffer, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. We've really enjoyed the album. Listeners really do need to check that out, and I think as well listen to it as a whole because it works really well as a complete piece. Rather than just cherry picking the singles, although they should go on YouTube obviously and check out the videos we talked about. But yeah, what would be your final message for listeners today?
Well, I'm just very pleased to talk to you. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I really hope that that people in the UK will like what we're doing. I mean, it's there are so many great bands out there, and we're just pleased to share some music with people who likes rock and metal music, because that genre has not really been that much in the broad audience for a while. So if this can make people look our way, that will be amazing. But we can't wait to see what happens, and hopefully a lot of the listeners will join us on social media so we can talk soon again.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, rock hasn't had the best last decade or so, but it certainly the future's looking bright for rock music, and definitely. Hopefully the future's very bright for H.E.R.O. So again, Christoffer, thank you so much for giving us your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Answering our questions, and obviously, listen to make sure you check them out. Well, thank you everyone for listening. I really hope you enjoyed that chat there with H.E.R.O. Please do make sure you check out their new album, Alternate Realities. And please also, of course, stay up to date with Full Pelt Music. You can do so on social media. We are on Facebook at Full Pelt and on Twitter and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. And if you would, please do hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, wherever you're watching or listening, and we will be back very soon with more episodes of the Full Pelt Music Podcast.